again, and welcome to the Stimulate Your Relationship show, where nothing is taboo and nothing is off limits for helping you to stimulate, excite, and reignite your relationship. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Zev Halpern. A stretch out of your comfort zone is risky, but in relationships and life in general, it can be the difference between a mediocre and stimulating life. My goals are to help you stimulate, explore, and excite your relationship in all facets, emotionally and physically. What's all this about stimulation? Aren't we already overstimulated with media and the world coming at us at the speed of crazy? Yes, we are overstimulated and distracted from our relationships. Stimulating your relationship can mean initiating a walk where you stroll, hold hands even. It could be really listening to what your partner's saying, or it could be trying to find a way to invite your partner to the old sweaty dance, the big event. I found when you stimulate your relationship in all kinds of positive ways, your net result is a stimulated, happier, more productive life. So let's get to it. We have an exciting show tonight, and we have a strong panel, including Dr. Tobie Beckerman, an OB/GYN from Beckerman Women's Health, Dr. Melanie Ricaurte, sex therapist, and Tara Carbo, leadership coach from Carbo Coaching. We'll be digging deep into finding ways to help you stimulate your relationship for a more emotionally and sexual, intimate experience. We always value your point of view, so let us know what's on your mind and what relationship challenges you want us to focus on. Send your comments directly to zev@stimulateyourrelationship.com. Please take this time to think about ways you can stimulate your relationship. So sit back, chillax, open your hearts and minds, and consider some ways you can explore ways to excite your relationship. Here's today's Couples FYI. Can we focus for a moment about getting your intimate, sexy mindset on? You can do that by adopting a new mindset based on your relationship's capacity to explore, experiment, and play. After all, rekindling a romance doesn't just start on its own. Getting back to reigniting your intimate passion is all about the right frame of mind. Yes, much easier to stay in the status quo and do nothing. If you do nothing, you'll get absolutely nothing. Standing at the wishing well, hoping for the goodies, will not get you emotionally or sexually satisfied. For many, it's difficult to create the passion of old, so perhaps it's better to try to create a new relationship reality with a brand new mindset. Bluntly stated, it's time to turn the page for a new chapter, one that operates to activate new feelings of desire and intimacy on new levels. Turn the page, open your mind, and plan a fresh visit to one of your favorite former hangouts. You remember this tingly, sexy place you both used to go? Adopt an experimental frame of mind to step out of the usual status quo into the sensual aspect of your relationship. Explore, experiment, and play with each other. Life's an experiment. A famous inventor, Richard B. Fuller, said, "There's no such thing as a failed experiment, only experiments with unexpected outcomes." So put your inventor's cap back on and begin a little trial and error. Both of you know a bit about what works and what doesn't from earlier experiments. Come on, you two. Your relationship is truly a laboratory. Experiment with some new formulas. Mix those ingredients up. Your discovery just might be a relationship stimulation breakthrough. Don't we all want to be more stimulated and excited during the times we spend together? Let us know what you think. zev@stimulateyourrelationship.com. Take a look at this, and we'll be right back to introduce you to tonight's panel.
Scrivo quest'ultima canzone solo per ricordarti, partita.
Welcome back. One quick thing before I introduce the panel. After the show, please take advantage of my free download, Zev's 15 Ways to Stimulate Your Relationship, complete with hands-on tools you can do together today so you can promote understanding and stimulate your relationship. Free download can be found at stimulateyourrelationship.com. So log in and get stimulated. You won't be disappointed. And now, let's meet tonight's panel. Dr. Tobie Beckerman is an integrative gynecologist who focuses on each individual woman's unique medical and psychological needs. Board certified in obstetrics and gynecology, she's been practicing for 30 years and has evolved from a busy group practice to Beckerman Women's Health, LLC, a model of intimate, personalized care. She speaks to community groups, physicians, and has appeared in media, video, and television discussing a wide range of topics related to women's health. She loves her work and feels privileged to be able to help women of all ages throughout their lives. Beckerman Women's Health is located in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Tara Carbo is a business and leadership coach at Carbo Coaching. She provides individual life coaching, group life coaching, and digital courses to help people make measurable progress toward their biggest goals. Being in this work has made a tremendous impact on her 18-year marriage and the raising of her 3 teenage children. Tara has been a wife, mother, and full-time entrepreneur since the age of 18 and has created what she and many others consider a wonderful and healthy life. Dr. Melanie Ricaurte is a licensed psychologist and certified sex therapist. She has her PsyD in clinical psychology and MED in human sexuality from Widener University. She focuses on helping individuals and couples navigate the challenges faced when different aspects of their identity are in conflict with one or another or themselves. Dr. Ricaurte works hard to tailor a collaborative approach so clients can work on specific areas they want help with. Her practice is located in Rockville, Maryland. Ladies, doctors, coaches, thank you for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. So I get a lot of feedback from people who tell me that they want to know about how to deal with different kinds of things. And this is a very strong panel, and I'm sure that they're going to get a lot of good advice and good knowledge from you. But for many couples, emotional intimacy, it's a hard kind of thing. For men, it's very difficult. Sometimes for women, they can't get into the next part if they don't get that. But for men, and a lot of men, they're like, don't we have emotional intimacy? Where'd it go? I thought we had it. And no, we don't have it. Like that kind of thing, and it closes down very. So I was going to ask the three of you, can you weigh in a bit about emotional intimacy? What triggers it? Where's it come from? How do you get it working? Just start with you, Melanie.
I think at the very beginning of a relationship, it's easy. It comes natural. You're very hormone driven, and it comes natural to ask questions and to want to be near the other person and to have questions asked and so on. But as relationships progress and there's work and kids and so on, it can be hard sometimes to continue to open up in the same way as in the beginning. So, and then people start bringing up old family dynamics and attachment style related struggles. So then it becomes harder and takes more work.
So you have a recipe, Tara?
That's really good. I'm going to play off that because then the relationship builds resentments and blames and separation. And like the thing I see is the lack of agreements and recreating the relationship. And so the piece to put in, I think, around that emotional connection is actually like creating a new agreement and saying, okay, well, this is the safe space for us to play inside of and us to grow inside of. And oftentimes that's either assumed or completely ignored, and people don't realize that that's the foundation of it, is to create that space for those conversations.
What do you think, Tobie?
And I think the way to do that, exactly, building on you, is communication. When I sit and talk to patients and ask them all of these questions, they come out and talk about it and how much it bothers them. And the next question is, have you talked to your significant other about it? And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they don't know how, so we sit
Or they're
and we
scared.
strategize.
They're scared.
They're scared. Sometimes they don't know if their spouse, partner actually has the ability to get there. But I always say to them, have you tried? Have you broached the subject? Have you taken a baby step? So communication is huge. Honesty, openness, communication.
So sometimes it's been called carefree timelessness, being with each other without an agenda, spending time, talking, that kind of thing. Sometimes you might find in the bed playful, just hanging around, nothing happens, no big event, just happy, and you feel close, and you go to sleep feeling like, that was nice. I came home to something really, something that felt good. So could you contrast a relationship that has it and one that doesn't have it, so people, our audience, could understand a little bit about where they might be on the continuum of emotional intimacy? Anybody? You can just jump in.
I think people forget to play with each other, meaning phones get in the way. So even if they're having downtime, what actually ends up happening is they might be sitting next to each other on their phones or watching TV or both, or a computer at the same time, and they're not actually playing together, interacting with one another. So moments of connection go out the window, or they might be making dinner together very quickly and then putting the kids to bed, and then before they know it, they haven't actually played or interacted at all in a positive, connecting way, and by that point they're ready to go to sleep, and there's just no interaction and no real connection.
What do you think, Tara?
Yeah, I mean, in a world of people being busy and overwhelmed, how challenging is it for us to, hey, let's be present with one another, is not usually a topic of conversation, right?
I can't wait.
Yeah, and so for very driven coaches, what we've done is actually built in a date night where we literally get together and just talk about our relationship and how it's going, because otherwise we won't.
I think that spending time together is crucial. And even, like you said, a date night, making a special time, but even when you're sitting around doing nothing, acknowledging the other person's there, sharing what you're doing. You reach on your own computer, what are you reading? What are you reading? Just that constant little reminder the other person's there, and make it a share time rather than a separate time.
All right, so we used up that segment pretty fast. We're going to move to the Sexpectations segment coming up. So I want to tell you just a little bit, a book, Hot Monogamy. It's got some great ideas by Patricia Love and Joe Robinson. Hey, read part of it, read a little of it. Take a look. It's got some great ideas for people. You don't have to do everything that's in the book, but take a whirl at it. And I've read it. It's great. There are a lot of books that are great. This is certainly one of them. So for some women, it's very painful to have sex for lots of reasons, either from pure old pain or trauma or something like that. What are the breakthroughs? Are there any medical breakthroughs? Are they procedures? Are they pills? Are they?
So it depends so much on the age of the patient. If there's pain with intercourse from a younger age, of course you need a good doctor, good evaluation, try to see whether there are actually any physical, anatomical problems, and really start to delve into it and be able to find a solution. There's lubricants, there's so many things that we can use, but it's all a matter of what the actual problem is. So it's very important to be able to be open to the doctor, open to some kind of therapist that then refers, and be honest with yourself. Gosh, this really hurts. It's not supposed to, and to get help.
Yeah, something beautiful that
Absolutely.
hurts, and it hurts.
Absolutely.
And I look at you and say, I just had this great. And
Right,
you're
absolutely.
Like,
and there's so many things that actually, there's websites, Vaginismus.com is a website. There's so much resource now because it's very well recognized. But if you don't open up, if you don't talk about it, that's not
You're
going to
not going to get the help you
But
need.
the interesting, fantastic breakthroughs is actually for our menopausal women. Because physiologically, when you go through menopause and you're no longer making estrogen, the vaginal tissues become dry and it hurts and sex is painful. For some it's impossible, for others it's tolerable, but that's not what you want. Especially the kids have left the house, it's just the two of you. The last thing you want is that. So there are creams and hormones, and I know sometimes hormones get a bad rap. They're really an unbelievably wonderful source to improve sexual intimacy, lubrication, lack of pain in the vagina. But the one fantastic breakthrough that there is a laser.
Wow, a laser.
It's amazing. It's called Mona Lisa Touch. It came out of Italy in 2008, so it's been out for about 10 years now. And I've had the laser actually in my office for the last 2.5 years. The results are phenomenal. 3 to 5 minute procedure, painless, absolutely no downtime. And what happens is the laser stimulates the cells to create collagen. Similar to face lasers, people are constantly having facials and things of that nature with lasers, so we're not new to the mechanism of how they work, but it stimulates collagen building and you basically regenerate your vaginal tissue. So that is
How
just
many times?
wonderful.
How many times do you have to go?
3 treatments,
Three
6
treat-
weeks
three-
apart.
three treatments.
Painless, 3 to 5 minutes. It's really unbelievable.
Is it expensive? Is it reasonable? It
It's
can be
the-
on the.
It's probably approximately $2,000. Unfortunately, it's probably not covered yet by insurance because the machine is approved by FDA, but the treatment itself is not. So it's in the works. We're waiting sort
Oh,
of
I'm
any
sure,
day
I'm
now
sure.
because so many studies have actually been submitted already, and hopefully any day now is my hope that it will start to be covered. But that really is a miraculous breakthrough for people who either don't take estrogen, don't want to take estrogen. Estrogen is contraindicated. Really fantastic.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
A laser, unbelievable. So there's a lot of people out there, a lot of women, a lot of men. They've experienced trauma. They haven't told anybody about it. It's been a very quiet and a terrible sense. They look at their lives through the lenses of this trauma. They always have. And what can you tell somebody? What could they do about this? Everybody's having a beautiful time. It's such a beautiful thing, and every time they try it, it's not a beautiful thing. It's just awful. So, do you have any ideas for how you might help somebody who has trauma and who's being very quiet about it? And I want to tell them, there's a big life for them. There's tremendous happiness that they can have, but there's certain things they have to do to get to that happiness. What are some of those things, Melanie?
Well, part of the process of working with someone who's experienced trauma is allowing them to tell their story. So allowing them and encouraging them to tell the story, and if they're in a partnered relationship, to get to a place, if they're safe, with their partner, to feel comfortable sharing that story with their partner.
Which is a huge thing.
And it's a huge thing, and a little bit at a time, recreating pleasure in their relationship, which might have been completely lost or never experienced for that person. So there's a technique called sensate focused, which is a technique that very much focuses on a little bit at a time, rebuilding connection and sensual pleasure between partners to get to the point
who
where
feel
both
safe
of
with
them
each other.
feel
Partners
safe
who feel safe.
and comfortable and are able to then eventually have intercourse, however they might want to define intercourse, by first building up from very, very gradual steps.
A lot of people who have trauma are very angry, and the anger is deep, and it's been stuffed into the deepest wells that they have. So to bring it out and to very difficult. I mean, you have any thoughts about it?
I was just thinking how much compassion and partnership and space is needed in order to go through that with your partner. And this might sound obvious, but the sexual experience is intimate, and we're supposed to be in partnership and communication. And I think that not a lot of people talk to each other and tell each other what they need and what they want and how it should feel and all of this during the sexual experience. And what a loss. right?
They've often talked in terms of retribution. They're angry. They want, they want a pound of flesh. They want to have something happen. So I tell them, the one thing that if you live a good life, you take the power away from perpetrators. They lose their power, and these people are so scared of this event. It's like in front of them, that sex happens, and they're back in this horrible moment again. All right, so let's talk. We don't have a lot of time left, but let's talk a little bit about romance enhancement products, which used to be called marital aids, which also can be called sex toys. There's lots of them. We've had the pure romance people on the show before. They've come with trunk loads, of every kind of thing that you could possibly imagine. And in panels, people have told me amazing. On the internet. There's even a vibrator on the internet that you can operate across the world, which this woman, we had a very powerful woman who's a big CEO, and she, is in a committed relationship, and she uses this thing, and he can manipulate, the thing, which is amazing.
Relationship.
Thousands of miles. They have things you can ride. They're called symbians. There's loads. Just very quickly, all three of you, what do you think? Is it a good thing? Is it not a good thing? Your personal preferences alone, for couple time, to have orgasms if you can't have them. What do you think, ladies?
I think the good thing is what the couple wants. And I don't think it has to be defined by somebody else. I think it can be defined by the two of them. For some, it's just being together. For some, having an orgasm. For some, a vibrator. For some, this internet distance. But I think the important thing is, at the end of the day, it's the pleasure. And what defines pleasure is very subjective. And as long as the couple talks about it, they're on the same page, then to me, you've achieved the goal.
You don't need permission.
It doesn't have to be somebody else's.
You don't need permission.
Right, and it doesn't have to be somebody else's expectation or somebody else's goal. It might be intercourse, it might be not. But I think it's what their individual pleasure is. And that's defined by them.
Anybody else?
I will just say that if we're all going to play with each other, let's use toys. Right?
Sure.
Certainly.
And I think for all technology, there's positives and negatives to it. It helps some people connect. It leads to disconnection between other people.
Because they get too happy with the toy.
Or focus too much on the toy.
To their boy toy,
Right.
or their girl toy, whatever.
Sure.
And it works both ways. I mean, the advent of free porn, it has turned
Right.
the world upside down. And,
Right, absolutely.
for men, it's. I hear about it all the time and talk to men about it all the time. But that's a good understanding of it. We don't need permission. We want to have pleasure, and there are ways to get it, and just don't be dangerous. Because there are some that are. I've noticed walls at certain stores, they don't look very good. You know what I mean? They look a little scary. I'm not sure I'd use them. But anyway, we're out of time. You guys have been great. A fabulous panel, very strong, with lots of good points for our audience. And I thank you, and I know they thank you, and thanks for coming out. So to find out more about our panel guests, here's how to contact them. To connect with Dr. Tobie Beckerman, to connect with Tara Carbo, to connect with Dr. Melanie Ricaurte. My consulting and coaching practice has allowed me the privilege and opportunity to work with couples with a wide array of relationship challenges, infidelity, communications, sexual concerns, both face-to-face here in Maryland and virtually all over the world through my online relationship stimulation consulting practice. I invite you to find out more about how I can help you stimulate your relationship through my signature program, Spark. Stimulate, explore, and excite your relationship. Get in touch with me. Let me help you transform your relationship into a truly stimulating and exciting adventure. You can begin to resolve some of that raw relationship conflict. Reconnect for a deeper, more exciting relationship and spice it up a little. Don't some of you want to feel the love again? Please check out all my social media platforms and you'll find ways every day to stimulate your relationship into the enjoyable space it absolutely can be. So we'll leave you tonight with a few ways to stimulate your relationship. Say I like it when your partner does anything that makes you feel special and sexy, and you will increase the chances of it occurring more often. Ask sincerely what your partner needs from you, not what you think they need, and deliver it lovingly. You both will be the beneficiaries in the short and long term. Lovingly discuss your earliest intimate moments, as they are a treasure trove and a stimulating reminder of how and why you began your intimate journey to begin with. Finally, try asking yourself, what's right with your relationship? Instead of focusing always on what's wrong, focus on what happened to us during the story of us. And that's a better way to look at it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Zev Halpern. See you next time for a jam-packed new episode of Stimulate Your Relationship.